Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for the presentation on the Compass software. There's a lot of traders still coming in. We're going to begin in 2 minutes. Presentation will begin in 2 minutes. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your patience. I appreciate your time. And what I'm going to be reviewing today is our Compass trading system. I really do believe it's a revolutionary system for thinkorswim. We've done an amazing amount of coding work on it, and it really provides you with terrific entries. It comes complete with a scanner to show you where those great entries are going to appear. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to review the system with you now. Now, just quickly, the disclaimer that all signals and trading opportunities that we provide for educational demonstration purposes only. The company doesn't take responsibility for any profits or losses that may be incurred. Everybody knows that trading carries with it the potential for substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose. Those of us here are not licensed commodity trading advisors nor registered financial advisors. With that said, I just wanted to discriminate myself briefly from a lot of the marketers, I call them, popping you systems out on social media. They all have gimmicks and schemes and signal services. I'm telling you, I just spoke to a trader last night who traded a $250,000 account down to $5,000, going through a whole bunch of very, very popular services. So I would just advise you to be very careful. And I think the key that discriminates sort of fly-by-nights in this industry who look for a quick strike or sell over a period of time, but really don't provide you with a really precise service is their background. I mean, none of this can be self-taught. I mean, you have to have real formal training. And the fact is that most people who are selling you services are no smarter or more knowledgeable than probably 75% of you are in this trading room. They've just decided that they want to open up a company, throw together a program, and sell it to you. Now, I graduated from an Ivy League university. I went to the University of Pennsylvania for 8 years, and I majored in mathematics. Within that field, I focused on mathematical modeling, and that is the discipline of looking at a closed system. And in every closed system, there's one major parameter that you want to define in the markets, and each individual market is nothing more than a closed system. What we want to do is find out what forces come to bear on price and move it in one direction or the other. Really, that is the science of mathematical modeling. The underlying premise also is that you're never done. Your workspace is never complete because the formula for describing the movement of a key independent variable within a closed system is never completed until you can determine how price is going to move off the right edge of the chart with 100% accuracy. So we're always looking to make this system better. While I was doing my training, I worked with the U.S. Navy and my mentor. We optimized underwater decompression schedules for the U.S. Navy. For that, I was awarded my diploma with distinction, in addition to graduating summa cum laude. After I graduated, I was inducted into the Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society. I became a full-time professor at Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia, which is in Center City. Penn is in West Philadelphia. I really love the city, and I just came to South Florida back to South Florida because this is where I grew up. Sometimes I regret leaving Penn because I mean Jefferson, because I really did like it there. But while I was at Jeff, I published 15 peer-reviewed articles in top-tier journals. I always consider myself to be a scientist, a teacher, and an academician first and foremost. I've taught and lectured to, I don't know, probably thousands of undergraduate and graduate students. I've mentored more than 30,000 traders, and I've spoken many places. Nationally, the last place I spoke was in Dallas, Fort Worth, and internationally, the last place I went to was Manila, obviously in the Philippines. That was the end of March, first couple of days into April, right before the COVID epidemic struck. Now, I really want to go through some of this material fairly quickly so I can focus on our system. I want to make this academic. I want you to understand the underlying premise that we use to trade. And that's where I have a little bit of a prelogue to what we're going to do. Now, when I talk to traders, one of the biggest problems they have is with consistency. They have good days, and maybe they have 2 or 3 or 4 good days in a row, but then they'll have one bad day, then they'll have another bad day. So it's really a problem with consistency. Also, many of them have blown several trading accounts, and a ton of you, I know, have purchased expensive software in the past that, despite promises, does not work. And that leaves a financial scar, and it leaves you a little more cynical about whether or not anything out there can really work. So I understand where a lot of traders are coming from. I just want to mention that we just closed out a week. I was only able to trade 4 days this week. I had really some pressing business I had to do in the morning on Thursday. We closed out the week with, we crossed 20 contracts only. We take 2 contracts a trade. We had 10 trades. We made $2,250 gross. Subtracting out 100 for commissions, maybe 125 for commissions, we netted about $2,100 in the live trading room. I did not take any losers. Every trade was a winner. And that's really the way you want to trade. And I'll tell you right up front, it's never about the number of winners you get. It's always about the number of losers. If you can trade with real specificity, and that is just looking for the really perfect trade setups with very little risk and sidestep almost every loser, you can be an amazingly profitable trader. Many traders in my trading room did better than I did. Now, it was really my background in mathematics that allowed me to create the software and trade methodology. Now, I bought software in 2004. I paid $15,000 for it. I had to wire the money to the company. I traded a big account down to basically to zero. And when I complained about it, it was always my fault. So I just decided that I had to strike out on my own. And I spent 2 years sitting in front of a computer, just watching price and building the system indicator by indicator. And really over the period of 24 months, I did nothing. I just sat every day for 8 hours a day watching price in different markets. Today, we have 500 traders in the live trading room, and we make money almost every day. Not every day, but almost. I'd like to say I was perfect, but I'm not. Now, as you stay to the end of the presentation, you're going to get really powerful bonus software. You're going to get a huge special discount. And actually, it's almost a discount on top of a discount. And you're going to get a special secret bonus, which is not so special and not so secret. It's still worth it, though. Now, I just want to quickly go over the way that the market was tooled and designed initially, and the way it was programmed, and how it hasn't changed over the course of the last 100 years, essentially. And that is why 95 to 98% of day traders and swing traders go broke. They're using the same trade methodology and the same strategies, which have been sending traders off the cliff forever. Now, if we look at the markets going back, I mean, you can go back 400 years because it wasn't always the stock market. And we look at what Japanese rice traders looked at. They were simply looking at the bartering of rice. So if there were 100 kilos of rice and there were 100 buyers on one side and 100 sellers on the other, they made the supposition that the power of each individual trader and seller collectively were all equal. So that the market consisted of just this in this particular case, 200 buyers and sellers, all with equal power to move the rice either to the buy side or the sell side, each individual trader having equal say in the direction that the price was, that in this case, the rice was going to go. From that, they got Japanese candlestick patterns. Now they're really an elegant formation. I mean, and they can provide you. I mean, they're really some really sophisticated patterns like shooting stars, all these things. I've read Steve Nissen's books a couple of times, and I used to be much more honed in on Japanese candlestick patterns. I just don't use them anymore, and the reason is that they just don't work anymore. If you're a price action trader, you're simply going to go off the cliff because pure price action is never going to have much predictive value off the right edge of the chart. The reason being, the power of each buyer and each seller anymore is not equal. And the whole market paradigm that we trade has completely altered. If you try to trade pure price action off the right edge, you are not going to make money. Traders have been trying to do it for a century, and the vast majority of them have gone broke. The reason is that this guy is around now, and this is the big institutional trader, and they dominate the markets. Now we've got these guys on Reddit trying to fight them, but in general, for our purposes, if you trade the futures, forex, or stocks, small cap, mid cap, or large cap, they dominate the direction of price. When they step in and they want to take a financial instrument long, that instrument is going long. When they step in and press a button on a computer and generate an algorithmic trade short, that financial instrument is going short. And the sentiment of small retail traders is simply irrelevant. So our sentiment now doesn't mean anything in the markets. We have to follow the coattails of big money, or we're going to get run over by the trade. That's the market paradigm that we face today, and that's what most traders just do not understand. They're still trading those same indicators and price patterns that work if every retail trader was just retail traders present in the market. Now, just visually, here's the presence of only retail traders. And what do retail traders do? We create chop, chaos, disarray. We fight back and forth among us. We all have equal say and equal power in the direction that the market's going to go. And we very rarely have the power to create a sustained move or create a real trend. Once in a while we will, but our goal is to stay out of the markets during chop, because our major goal in day trading, when you open up your trade or whatever it may be every morning, this program is for Thinkorswim, it's for TD Ameritrade's platform. When you open it up in the morning, you think to yourself, my goal is not I want to get winners, but my number one goal is to avoid losers. And if I can avoid losers, the winners will fall in my lap and I will get great trades. So it's when big money comes in and starts pushing a financial instrument up, we want to go long. When big money comes in and starts selling that instrument off, we want to go short. We want to ride their coattails, and we want to be able to see when these traders are present in the market. We want to see really quickly so we can get in just a half step behind them and ride the market either long or short in the direction that they want to take it. We don't want to be late on the move if possible. We want to be ahead of everyone else. Now, this is going to run over all the retail traders that I just told you about, and there are tens of thousands of them that will be caught in the wrong direction. That's the traders whose money we're going to take home at the end of every trading day. If our bank account, our trading account, and our wallet is fatter, it's not because we've ever taken a dime from the institutional guys. It's because we've taken money from the other small retail traders. I mean, if I have 500 traders in my live trading room, there are tens of thousands of other small retail traders out there who we can beat up and lighten their trading accounts. Now, just really briefly, I want to talk about pattern trading because again, I want this to be academic. This is the first time you've heard me talk. I want you to learn something about market mechanics and price mechanics. Now, pattern trading, and I always listen to 2 or 3 webinars a week of other traders because that gives me a great idea of what they're selling. And sometimes I really learn some really interesting information. There's a ton of traders selling patterns, and they're always rolling out new ones. So I saw a couple of patterns that were patented. But what pattern trading is, whether it's a falling triangle, a rising triangle, whether it's a J hook, whether it's a channel, is simply a little more complex expression of the sentiment of small retail traders. Falling triangles and rising triangles are not created by institutional money. They're created by small retail traders. We have sequential lower highs, equal lows, in anticipation of a bearish trend continuation. And it's possible that 100 years ago, these types of patterns and pattern traders made money. But in today's market, for the last 100 years, these traders have been consistently getting crushed. Now, there's 2 problems with this whole setup and this whole scenario. And they're mathematical problems, and you have to deal with them. Number 1 is you can't make an assessment of risk when you take a trade short. You have to assume that every falling triangle has the same power, and that is not true. So you have to decide for yourself, what is the positive predictive value, i.e., what is the likelihood that if I enter on a break of support, this trade is going to go on to become a winner? And there's absolutely no way to make that assessment. If you cannot make a risk assessment on a trade entry, and you must assume that every entry is of equal value, it is never going to be a successful setup or trade methodology. Every single trade entry comes with its own inherent risk, and you must be able to assess that risk on every trade. That's the discretionary component of trading. You want 80 to 90% of everything of the critical components on a trade. Then you're going to have 10% discretion, but you need to make a risk assessment, and you can't do it here. So what happens on a falling triangle pattern? Price breaks to the downside. In this slide, it doesn't, but it should break out to the downside. And then what happens? Big institutional money comes in and just strafes this trade up. And why do they pick this particular time to go long? It's because the more small retail traders that they can catch in the counter trend direction, the farther this trade can go with an equal amount of money committed on their side. Because the more traders they catch in the counter trend direction, if we're caught wrong and we have a stock short, we have to buy it back. So we're participating in their move to the long side. So it's really financially in their interest to catch us trading in the wrong direction, because then we have to close the position and push it in the direction that they want it to go. And once we feel enough pain, we're gonna get out of this trade, and we're gonna unfortunately be run over, and price is gonna move further in the direction that they want it to go. This is why this is a zero-sum game, and it's gonna cost you your trading account. Now, quickly on Fibonacci, it's valueless. Fibonacci was a brilliant mathematician alive in the 13th century, created Fibonacci transformations. From those, you got Fibonacci numbers, and then somebody had the bright idea to put retracements and extensions into the stock market, and somehow they were supposed to magically determine trader sentiment. If traders came up to this level here, for some strange reason, there were supposed to be sellers here that would push the market down. Once it broke, buyers were going to flock in here, and it became an area of support. I personally don't believe that Fibonacci ever worked. But in today's market, we know it doesn't work because big institutional traders couldn't give a hoot about Fibonacci levels. And we've done a one-year look back on Fibonacci and shown that these levels arbitrarily break and hold, and they don't have any predictive value off the right edge of the chart. You trade them, you're going to be doomed. And statistics back up what I say, and that is the success of the small retail trader is between 3 and 5%, and that is horrific. And if you think just for 1 second, if you treat trading as a scientific discipline in which we need mathematical verification for everything that we do, and we look at other scientific disciplines like medicine, like architecture, like electronics, and you go back 100 years to where we are today, it's like, oh my God. I mean, I don't even, I'm so bad at history. I don't even know. I think we had electricity 100 years ago, but I mean, did we have 5G 100 years ago? In medicine, we didn't. I don't think we had penicillin. So, and look where we are today in trading. We've come nowhere. We've made no stupendous strides forward. There have been no achievements created. We are just mired in the same junk. And it's really, I consider it to be a real shame. Now, just to recap, and again, I didn't have to start with this. I could have just dumped all of this and started with the platform, but I wanted to give you a flavor and a little bit of a history for where we're coming from. Now, price action, price pattern, Fibonacci, Elliott wave, and Gann theory, unfortunately, may have had significant value way in the past. These guys also were very smart. They created formulas to try to tell us mathematically buyer sentiment by studying price movement in the stock market. But in today's markets, they don't work anymore. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in terms of old world trading that we are never going to do again are divergent signals. Now, divergent signals are top calling and bottom calling signals. They're supposed to tell you when there's a market top and there's a market bottom. Now, it is mathematically impossible to call a top or a bottom on any market. There's no formula that can be created to do it, because the force that sets the top and sets the bottom cannot be quantified. And that force is institutional money. We can track it, but we cannot tell when it's going to flip off. It's like a switch that we can't see. So if we don't know when it's going to be turned off, we can't tell when the lights are going to go out. And in this particular case, if a financial instrument is being pushed long by institutional money, we don't know when they're going to flip the switch off and when that instrument is going to start to retrace back to mean price. Now, as long as they're participating, you're going to get divergent signals and you're going to get run over. And they will purposely create bull traps and bear traps. At the bottom, they'll step aside for a minute or two. They'll let the buyers come in and try to make that retracement. And then bam, they're going to come in and they're going to drive the market lower. And that's your bull trap. And they're going to create multiple bull traps along these moves down, because it helps them. When they trap buyers in the wrong direction, buyers are going to help push that price lower when they start to run them over. So we should bring our days of top calling and bottom calling to an end. Now, I've been sitting in front of a computer for 10 straight years, on and off for 15 years. And there is no way to call a top or a bottom in a manner that's going to be precise enough to allow you to trade profitably. So you have to eliminate it from your trading arsenal. If you don't, it's going to steal money from your account. And remember, our underlying theme is your goal is to avoid losers. That is the key. So to finish the recap, when that big hand comes down and grabs that candle and pulls it up, it's going up. Everything we discussed before, it's irrelevant. When it pushes the candle down, it's going down along with price. And nothing that we saw before is going to make one hill of beans difference in determining the direction of price or allowing us to predict the direction of price. Now, greater than 70% of the volume of every individual market, in the futures, Forex, and stock markets are comprised of institutional money. Doesn't matter whether you trade small cap, mid cap, or large cap stocks, you are going to be subject to the whim of the institutional traders. And you got to trade with them. Now, if institutional money is not present, as I said, the market is likely to be exceedingly choppy and extremely difficult to trade. We don't want to trade a market where the only participants are small retail traders, because we just tend to create a choppy mess. So we want these institutional guys to come in, create a nice long trend, and get in right behind them. So we've determined that there are three key metrics that are proxies for money flow. Institutional traders aren't going to tap us on the shoulder and say, you know what, I'm taking MicroStrategy long. I'm going to take Apple short. I'm going to take. Today I bailed on Roku on a very profitable options position. It's up $10. My big toe hurts because of that. But I mean, we've killed it in options off this system. Just as an aside, I closed 2020 with 32 winners in a row. I then took a couple of losers to close out the year, actually. And now going into 2021, I have 5 winners in a row. Now, and the reason I trade so profitably on the option side is one of the things that must be present on my trade is I must be trading in the direction of institutional money. Now, 3 proxies are volatility, trend, and momentum. and I'm going to show you how we leverage them to tell us the direction to trade. Now, here's a full chart. I just wanted to show you right off, this is the complete chart that we're eventually going to build to. And I'm going to go over each component of this chart one by one until we've recreated it. This was Qualcomm yesterday. It took a complete nosedive. These are our scanner signals telling us to go short on the stock. And these are all the other metrics we use to track what we believe, and I'm quite sure of, is the direction of institutional money. Now, the first thing that we have to create is market structure. As worthless as price action is, the value of market structure is absolutely that. I mean, you can't trade without it. You have to define mean price, and you define it. We define it as a 50-period exponential moving average. That's our mean. You can define, I mean, this can be moved to a 100 EMA or a 200 EMA. That's really up to you. I don't recommend it, but because this is the way the platform comes configured. I would stay on a 50 EMA. Then this is a 15 EMA, and it creates market structure. When you're above the 50 and above the 15, you can only trade long. If you get a short signal, you have to ignore it. We're defining the principles by which we trade. We're sort of creating our own trading theology, our own trading dogma. And if we don't follow it, every single trade, we're going to wind up losing out. We won't trade and make as much money as we potentially could. We're only trading long when price is above the 15 and above the 50. When it's below the 15 and below the 50, we can only trade short. That's market structure. We're saying that when price is above the 50 and the 15, the bulls are in control of the market, and we can only trade long. If we trade short, we're taking a counter trend trade, and we only trade in the direction of the trend, and vice versa on a short trade. Now we also have created pivots. Now we have only 3 major swing pivots present on the chart. You see that price rises to this is GameStop, and I just picked a stock arbitrarily. It doesn't make any difference what you look at. Price came up to resistance, stopped, then sat on support for a long period of time. And listen, support will break, obviously. I mean, we trade pivots every day in the trading room, and we never trade into a pivot. It's really one of our rules. We wait for the pivot to break, and then we can take the trade. But you see price comes right back up to the pivot, and now it's an area of resistance. And now we can take the trade short right off of that area. So pivots also help us define market structure, areas we can trade and we cannot trade, and whether we can trade long or whether we can trade short. Now we have to put them in the context of the 50 and the 15, but when you add them all together, they're starting to help define for us structure, and we're giving structure to price. Now, the first that we're going to look at is Laguerre momentum. Now, I put it as a second powerful force. It's really, I just rotated the slides, and I'm showing it first. So it doesn't really make much difference. Now, Laguerre momentum is really, really powerful. And let me tell you why we picked the Laguerre. Every other oscillator was tailored to do one thing primarily, and that is to look for divergence. Fast stochastic, slow stochastic, the Arun oscillator, Williams K. There are a million of them. I can't even remember half of them. They go in one basket, and their goal, they do track momentum, but their goal is to try to find divergence to give you a counter trend trade, and you're not taking them anymore. So you don't care about divergence. Now, relative strength is a little bit different, but still it's looking for divergence. Now, the Laguerre can give you divergence, but it's rare because its number one goal is to track momentum. Now, we've opened up the Laguerre oscillator and we've changed it. It's got a gamma factor, which we've changed, and it's got multiple smoothing factors that we've changed, and it's become very stable. Now, in one of my master classes, I took the Laguerre and I put it, and underneath the Laguerre, I put 5 other oscillators. Relative strength, fast stochastic, slow stochastic. I know I put Williams, I think it's Williams R actually, and one other I can't even remember. Just your standard oscillators. They create significantly different percent K lines than this line does. Now, when this line is locked long up against the 100 line, you've got tremendously powerful buying going on. And I want to explain to you for a minute exactly what momentum is in the stock market, because it's very different in the stock market than it is in real life. Now, in real life, if you have a car going around a racetrack at 100 miles an hour, its momentum is flat. It's neither rising nor falling. If the driver hits the gas pedal and increases the speed of the car by 10 miles per hour per minute, then momentum rises. If he hits the brake and the car decelerates at 10 miles per hour per minute, then momentum is falling. So what the heck is momentum in the markets, since it has nothing to do with speed? This trade could evolve very slowly, yet momentum can be intense to the upside. And what it's simply tracking is the relationship of the close of the candle to the high of the candle. And as the close approaches the high, you know that you're undergoing intensified buying pressure. And when this Laguerre locks long, you know that the buying pressure is so intense, that close is getting so tight to the high that really, until you start to see a fall, price is simply going to go higher and higher and higher. So that's what we're defining here. We're not looking for divergence. We're looking for buying pressure and selling pressure. Now, the Laguerre has forward-looking properties, and I'm going to show you right now how it can give you terrific forward-looking signals. Now, we haven't developed an indicator yet to signal them, but we're working on it. And like I said, as a company whose underlying thesis is that of mathematical modeling, we never believe a workspace is powerful enough, nor is it ever static. We're always looking to make it better. And we already see ways we can make it better. But this is a signal you can pick up on your own, and it's not hard to see. You'll notice here that the Laguerre goes from oversold to overbought, yet price moves in a channel. It doesn't move up. The reason is because inside the candles, the close is approaching the high, but price itself is not rising. Now, this is PayPal. Now, almost always when this happens, you're going to get an explosive move to the upside. a durable move to the upside. And this is really a nice move. Now, I cut the right edge off, so I can't tell you how many what the dollar move is, because that wasn't really the point of the slide. The slide simply was to show you the signal. But when you see this, you're going to get, now the system is going to signal you into the trade, so you don't have to worry about when to take it. But I wanted to show you the signal and show you how the Laguerre has forward-looking ability. I'm going to show it to you again right here, and this is on GameStop. Everyone's always talking about GameStop, GameStop, GameStop. How do I trade it lucratively? Well, it's a really risky business to trade it, and I've told my traders to stay away from these stocks because we don't want to take any risk, and we don't want to take, throw our money at something we're not sure of. But when you see a signal like this is when you can take a trade. When you see the Laguerre go from oversold to overbought, now it can be in the other direction. Just so happened I picked up 2 signals in this direction. And you see GameStop move sideways, step aside, because when it breaks out, it's going to explode to the upside. That's the forward-looking ability of the Laguerre. It's a very, very powerful assessment. Now, our system is going to signal you into this trade anyway, but just on the rare occasion that it doesn't, you can see these signals and you can take this trade long. Now, we never want to trade one time frame. If we, everyone's always got multiple charts open. They're looking at the trend they're trading a 5-minute. They pick some higher time frame. We like to look at multiples of 3. If you're trading a 5-minute, we're looking at a 15-minute, then we multiply the 15 by 3, and we're looking at a 45-minute. I think if you look any further out than that, it's going to take you days to get a reversal in price. And if you trade any shorter, it loses its power, loses its predictive power. But what we've done is we've condensed it down into this line. Now it's creating an exponential assessment. Sergio decided, and he's our programmer, and in this particular arena, he's the boss, that we should look at those time frames on an exponential. It's a market structural analysis done on 2 higher multiple time frames, and they're all coded in. We could have 3 lines here, 1, 2, and 3, all looking with our chart, our higher times 3, and our higher times 3. Sergio was just able to squeeze them together, and when they all align to the upside, you got yourself, there's your market structure, you've got your move long. When they align to the downside, you're gonna look for a trade short. And when they're aligned to the upside, you can look for a trade long. But now we've got a trading rule. If the multi-time frame alignment and trend is long, we can only trade long if price is above the 50 and the 15. If it's short, price has to be below the 50 and the 15. Long, above the 50 and the 15. So now we're starting to build some rules that we're going to trade by. I mean, they're getting a little bit more complex. Now, here's really the most elegant indicator that we've really created. It's a dual assessment of momentum and chop. Now, chop is a measure of dispersion. Is really the best way, or the best way I can describe it. It's simply a measure of how far, if you're looking at candle A, how far did candle B move from candle A? And how far did candle C move from candle B? And how far did candle D move from candle C? So if they're moving all over the place, if the distance from each sequential candle is really big, it means that you've got a lot of dispersion, and that defines chop. And we already know what defines momentum. Now, we're simply looking at a different way of assessing the Laguerre. So we combine the two. So in order to take a trade, you've got to have rising momentum and decreasing dispersion or decreasing chop. And that's going to give you a red assessment on this indicator. When you have momentum accelerating to the downside, and chop always has to be decreasing, dispersion decreasing, you're going to get yourself a short setup. And here's how it looks, just like this. Now, this is an indicator you have not seen before. You may have seen an indicator that may look like it, but it's not an indicator that behaves like it. Now, when you've got the most momentum and the least chop, it gets thicker. And when you've got, and the goal of this line is to keep you in the trade. So even on this pullback, you see how it stays green? Dispersion combined with momentum still tells you you're in for more upside. Then when it rolls over, you get a down arrow. And it tells you, now we don't have market structure up here. And maybe this short candle is giving you a short trade above the 50 and above the 15, in which case we have to ignore it. We never trade short above the 50 and the 15. This is just looking at this indicator and telling you what this indicator is telling you. It's not telling us what to trade. We're not going to trade one indicator. And here's the change to the upside and the move up. So this is a very powerful assessment that we augment the system with to help us take an entry and always get in. Now, it is my thesis and my absolute belief that this whole system on a multi-time frame basis, which is what the trend is looking at, will not set up for a trade unless institutional money is involved. You will not get a trade like this when there's chop and small retail traders are involved, which to me is why chop must be an assessment on this trade, and the chop indicator in Thinkorswim is useless. We had to take it apart, and what we do is we give each candle a chop value, and we put those chop values into a moving average, and those moving averages tell us a dispersion value, and that's how we calculate these lines. It's a very complex calculation. Now, here's your perfect short trade. I don't have to look, I'm not looking at market structure, but in a trade like this is very likely an awesome short trade. Just on the rollover, on the signal, down you go. Now, we still haven't finished the downtrend. This line is still red, which tells us we're potentially in for more price movement to the downside. I just had to cut the chart off somewhere. I didn't want to squeeze it too tightly, so I wanted you to be able to see each of the candles. Now, I just picked GameStop. It doesn't make any difference. I could have found moves like this on any stock in the NASDAQ 100. Now I want to show you the scanner. Now, the scanner looks and puts all the pieces of the puzzle that I just described to you together so that you can look at the scanner and find the best trades on, say, the whole NASDAQ 100, which is really a tremendous advantage. You don't have to sit there looking at one stock or two or three or four and wait for a great signal to evolve. Now, here are the scanner signals. Now, I'm going to show you the scanner dashboard in a minute. Now, when these green lines appear, optimally, you want to take the first one. Now, if you open up the chart and you're on this one, you have to make an assessment. Now, I don't have the 15 and the 50 in, so we don't know how far prices moved off support. You have to make a decision whether you still think you want to take the trade. Optimally, you want to get on the first bar. Here, you want to get in on the first bar. Here, that first bar. Here, that first bar. Now, if you got in here, there's no indication to leave. And you're going to get this whole move up. Now, there's a gap here. But as long as you've got as long as you've got this on the gap telling you you're good to go, just ride the gap higher. Here is another example. This is on, I don't know why I kept using GameStop, but here's your scanner. If this is showing, it means everything I showed you before is in line. You're below the 50 and the 15. The chop momentum, we call the C2 indicator, is heading down in red. The bias indicator, you've got a downtrend on a multi-time frame alignment. In other words, everything is perfectly set up for your short trade. Here's another signal, here's another signal, and here's another set of signals. Optimally, you want to get in on the first, and your hope is that our C2 indicator just stays red throughout the whole move, and you're in on this whole move to the downside. And we're going to talk, I have a bunch of slides where we're going to evaluate actually getting into a trade and how far we would take the trade. I just wanted to show you the scanner. Now, here's Penn Gaming, and this is a trade that I want you to see. Now, here's your first signal, and you see that the scanner is in perfect alignment. You've got bias green. The Laguerre is overbought, which we love. We're not looking to fade the market. Our C2 is green. Our 15 is green. We get a long arrow, and now we're out here. This is going to take us out, and we're not going to make much money on this trade. And I didn't want to pick slides. They're going to show you $125 winners on every trade, because those are just not realistic. If your expectations are that, or if somebody shows you slides like that, I mean, you know, they're just cherry picking things that are just absolutely unrealistic. I wanted to show you real trades. You're going to get out, and you're going to get out with a few cents of profit, but then you're going to get right back into the trade. Now, you don't have a scanner signal, you got it here, and you don't need another one, but you're going to go right back into the trade. And now here's where you get your huge move up, and there's your exit right there. When that line rolls over, and look what the scanner's telling you. Now, you can't trade this short because you're above the 50, but you got to exit the trade. And there's your absolute indication to exit. Momentum is waned and chop is increased. The multi-time frame alignment trend has gone red. The fact that you're getting scanner signals red and the Laguerre is locked short. I mean, if that doesn't tell you to get the heck out of the trade, I don't know what does. And so you're out. Now, I didn't scale the trade, but it's a really nice move up. It's maybe 107, 8, 9, 10, 11. Maybe it's between $3 and $4. Now, if you have 100 shares, you may be between $300 and $400. If you have 1,000 shares, you may be between $3,000 and $4,000. If you have a weekly option, You may bank on this trade. A $4 move on a weekly option is going to give you a beautiful percentage. I can't tell you what it is. I don't know the day of the week. I don't know the implied volatility of the option. It's really irrelevant. All that matters is you're going to make really nice money on this trade. And the most important thing is that the risk on entry is exceedingly low. That's what matters, because what you want to avoid is the potential for taking a loser. And when you take trades like this, the chance that you're going to take a loser is very small. The market's very unlikely to go right back down against you. Now, when it rolls over like this, you may only get a tiny winner, and maybe you lose 10 cents. But then you're going to get a monster move up. Now, here's the scanner. Now, this scanner may look like it's difficult to read, but it really isn't. Because the reason it's difficult is they put in the whole NASDAQ 100. And from the NASDAQ 100, these are the only stocks that are flashing scanner signals. Now, you're not going to look at 100 stocks. Maybe you're going to look at 25 or 30. Those are going to be your hit list. And from that 25 or 30, only 7 or 8 are going to give you scanner signals. Then you're going to have to pick the ones that you want to trade. Maybe you can have all of them open at the same time. It really is up to you. The goal of the scanner is to hand you perfect trades. If there's too many perfect trades, I mean, it's nice. It's nice to sort of slosh around in too much than slosh around in too little. Now, the software itself, it gives you exact entries, exact exits. Now, the targets are really not pre-configured. I mean, you may want to take the trade off. Let's say you're trading an option. I always pre-configure my options if you trade dailies. If I take a weekly option, I want one off at 50%, one off at 75%, one off at 100%. If I can hit those 3 targets, I don't care what the stock is doing. I only care what my option is doing. If you're trading the stock, you may want to pre-configure targets or just take the exit on the signal off the software. Now, here's a trade off of Roku. Now, the reason I picked Roku is because I had Roku until I stupidly closed Roku last night and switched it out for Qualcomm. I thought that Qualcomm was inappropriately beaten up. I thought it had too much upside. I don't want to overload our options portfolio. I sent out the newsletter last night. Roku is up 10, Qualcomm is up 2. I can't tell from today whether I made a bad or a wrong decision. I'm not so happy with what I did though, but you can see once you get in the trade, you're in all the way down. This line has stayed red, and as long as it stays red, you do not budge. It means that chop is still sequentially decreasing, dispersion is dropping, even though these are very nice retracements. This isn't a choppy move, and everything is moving very smoothly here. Here's a little bit of chop, and the line narrows, but momentum is continuing, and between the two, you stay in the trade all the way. This is a huge trade. I didn't scale this one either, and I should have. I mean, you're in maybe about 415. I don't know. You're down to 402. It's maybe a $12 to $13 move. That's a huge move. Again, 100 shares, a lot of money. 1,000, a huge amount of money. A weekly option, you're making bank on a weekly. I mean, this could be 100%. The reason I didn't want to type in weeklies is because I would have to call Thinkorswim. They would have to give me the assessment, and it would take them a long time to be able to calculate for me what the weekly made if I gave them the time of sale and everything. I just didn't want to go through put them through that pain. Now, here's a support line. Now, you have to make a decision here at support. This is a pivot, whether you want to close the trade at support because there's a potential for a bounce, or you want to let price run. Personally, if I'm in the trade and I'm making money, I'm going to let it go. You see how price came right back to it and then headed back down again? It acted as an area of support, then resistance, then you continue down all the way. If you're watching the scanner, you got this line. Roku went red. If you flipped over here, you got the arrow and you got your entry. That's a gorgeous trade. Now here's Penn Gaming. Why did I pick Penn Gaming? I'm in Penn Gaming. I really picked a lot of the stocks that I'm trading. There's your long entry off the scanner, and you're still in the trade. I didn't want to squeeze it too tightly. In fact, I squeezed every trade the same amount. Now I got 487 on what I saw, but you can see that Penn Gaming could still have gone a lot higher. There is absolutely no reason to exit this trade. This line is pretty thick, and it is predicting that Penn Gaming has more upside to it. If it came down, you saw this line turn red, you're out of the trade. Now here is Clorox. Now that's a pivot, and it comes down here because price moves. And now Clorox, you see how it turned red here? I'm sorry, green. There's your exit. Doesn't matter about anything else. This line got thinner and thinner, and you got this little piece of green here, and it gave you the up candle and it gave you the out. Now, why did I choose to show Clorox short? Because I have it short in my options portfolio. So I'm just showing you what I'm trading. I mean, I didn't pick these are not random stocks. Every one of them are stocks I am actively trading. And traders in my trading room know that because I mention these all the time, because at the end of our trading session, I go through my options portfolio and I'll tell them this is up, this is down, I'm making money, I'm losing money. It's a bloodbath. It's a great day. And I've really been killing it on options because the system gives me this really powerful entry short, and I just stay short. And then off of this line, I'm out. Here is Take-Two Interactive. Why did I pick Take-Two? I have it in my options portfolio. I have a vertical call spread on Take-Two. And you can see this costs us money on the out, but it's still a very juicy winner. That's just the way it is. Sometimes it'll cost you a very tiny amount of money on the rollover. Other times it'll cost you more. All that matters. Now, somebody, I don't know who typed it. The two in there is just, you know, it's a floating two, and I don't know what it means. There's the trade. Everything goes red. Now your scanner's giving you a short trade, but you're not taking it. There's your long trade off the scanner. Tilray, I closed yesterday or the day before. Scanner signal long. There's resistance. I held this option for resistance, and it's still going up. And I was concerned. Now today, Tilray closed down a little bit, but it made an enormous move up. And if you took this signal long, and rode this option on a daily, on a weekly option or a 2-weekly option. Tilray is only a $14 stock. You could easily buy 100 shares. If you did, you made $747. If you bought 1,000, you made $7,470. If you bought a weekly option, you made 200 or 300% on this trade. And I closed Tilray on this big pop. And the reason it popped was because Portugal legalized cannabis in the entire country. And the reason I bought it initially was because Joe Biden and I think the Democrats, and I think just about every politician is really pretty much pro-cannabis. Nobody wants to put people in jail for smoking it or using it. I think you should be in jail for selling it. We're selling 5,000 kilos, but that's my own personal opinion. But use, I think, is going to be decriminalized, if not legalized, nationwide. Tilray's cannabis blue chip. I mean, I don't want to go into the way I trade options, but you can see from the software, it's a gorgeous trade. And again, these are I pick stocks that I have, not just random ones. Chewy, I held for a while. There's the entry. You had to hold it through resistance. I would have held it. Now, this is on a 5-minute, and this is a very nice move up. Now, this is your exit. So you're not going to make as much money as I scaled it to. You don't have to hold. This is up to you. But if you go by what the system tells you, that's going to be your exit. You're still going to make great money on the option, good money on the stock. That's twice. Now here's MicroStrategy. I don't have it right now. I love to trade it because it's a wild beast to trade. And this entry right here, it's a little risky because the C2 and the 15 have not crossed the 50, and you want them to, but they're green and heading up. If you take the trade, you're still in it. It's up $50, and there's still no reason to ditch it. You can see this line is still pretty thick, and it looks to me like you're in for more upside here. Costco, I simply put the slide up to show two things. One, you can get more than one trade in one. Well, this I think these are both on Wednesday, but they may be on different weeks. But what I wanted to show you was this is a very low risk trade. Now it made $18 on a 4-hour candle. I mean, you had to hold it for a few days. And you can see it's very low risk because price is above the C2 and the 15 and the 50. That's your perfect long. Now, you're not going to wait until until this rolls over. Where is it here? I would not do that. I mean, this is a multi-day hold. I would have this on targets. On a 4-hour, you're going to give too much back. Now, I'm going to hold a master class, and for everyone that comes aboard, and I'm going to show you some of the nuances. On the longer time frames, we're going to set targets. On the shorter time frames, we can use the system-generated exits. The key, though, is it always puts you in a direction, and it's going to rock. Now, this is a much higher risk trade. Why is it higher risk? Price is not above the 15, and the 15 is heading down. And even though I scaled it at $11.04, which is maximum excursion on the trade, and even though it may have gone further, the only point I wanted to make was that this is a risky entry and one that I would be unlikely to take. I want to have the trade set up like this. They both gave you scanner signals, but I wouldn't take this trade. Now, in 1843, in 2020, trading options off stocks, we made over $180,000. I think I told you I closed with 32 winners in a row. I took every entry off the system. I've been a member of Thinkorswim since 1997 when it was TD Waterhouse. We closed with 32, and we're now, I think, on our fourth. And then I took two losers because two trades expired worthless. And now I think we're either on 4 or 5 winners in a row in 2021, and my portfolio is rocking. Now, I believe it's the most powerful software and trading methodology available to the small retail trader on this platform. This platform is a killer to make add-on indicators. It's very difficult, and the one signal that we're looking to add is that signal where you go from overbought to oversold on a channel. That's a terrific entry, and we're going to program that in. And for some people are going to get that as a free add-on and upgrade. Now, it's really easy to learn. It's very intuitive. And, you know, you could, obviously you can trade stocks or options. You can trade futures if you want. I don't believe you can trade Forex. Now, if you have any interest in this, and we're going to give you a great price, and we're going to give you a really, really good deal, what I do is, and I encourage you to put your name and phone number into the chat window, or name and Skype if you're overseas, because only the first, there are 225 traders in the room. Only the first 20 are going to get 3 add-on systems, which I'm telling you are going to help you trade immensely. And it obligates you to nothing. All it does is get your foot in the door, guarantee that you'll be one of the first 20. If we call you and after 5 minutes of talk, we haven't satisfied whatever questions that you have, we say goodbye and we never call you again. We're not telemarketers, and that's just not the way we operate. That's why I'm asking for your invitation to call and not simply just calling you, because I don't believe in that. And that's not the way our company works. So you have no risk except to get a phone call. I just ask, if you do put your name and number in, and Rory goes to the trouble of calling you, please pick up, because we have some people, you know, in a webinar too, you know, who just don't pick up the phone. So if you do put your number in, be serious enough to at least give them 2 minutes of your time, and it does not obligate you to anything. Now, here's the add-on number 1. Only the first 20 are getting the scanner. If you're not one of the first 20, you're going to have to buy it as a separate add-on. It's $1,000. If you one of the first 20, you get it. It's very helpful, but it's not an absolute requirement to get a great trade. You've still got your arrows, but it's not, but it's going to hinder your ability to trade multiple positions. Number 2, you're going to spend a year with me in the battle room. Now, the battle room is supposed to go 1 hour a session, and it's never gone less than 3 hours. I mean, it usually puts me into a coma, and I have to go lay in a bathtub of cracked ice, because we go over trading stocks and options really intensely. Now, maybe you really don't care about learning how to trade options, but I'm telling you, it really behooves you and will benefit you, because I'm handing you extremely valuable information on a plate. It teaches you how to use unusual options activity to help configure your options trade. I'm going to show you the best options configuration to take so you get the best potential reward off the least risk, and how, I mean, this is where I'm honest to God, no joke. I take, because every trade I take in my options alert newsletter, I take with that I recommend, I take with my own money in Thinkorswim. And if anyone challenges that, I will snapshot my back end. I'm going to have to redact my trading account, but I won't reject and the number of contracts I trade. But I'll show you that every trade is executed live and at the same price I recommend. But you're going to get a really intense year of education. Now, if you have any questions about trading, you can ask them there too. But after every trading session, and you're also going to be in my live trading room for a month, I do a lot of teaching as well. Now, you're also going to be coming to the trading room with me. Now, Dr. Allen did an analysis. I don't know who the guy is. He looked at 28,000 historical trade records, a whole bunch of data. He found that us for transparency, the likelihood of assisting traders, a whole bunch of parameters that we were in the top 10. Our transparency is unbelievable. Our stops and targets are projected through the system. You see when a target's taken out, everything, our profit loss is recorded. I mean, I showed the traders this morning when we finished trading. It only took me 15 minutes to trade this morning. And we were out for the week with $2,100, I think, $50. And every trade, I showed how much we made, but we do that on a daily basis. Gives you the opportunity also to ask questions about why didn't I take that trade? Why did they take that trade? Because some of them are a little gray zone and they require your discretion. Your learning curve is going to skyrocket. Now, everyone gets a quick start guide to set the system up. If you have technical ability, it's going to be easy for you. If not, Sergio will do a white glove installation. And honest to God, I'm really committed to you trading profitably. I had so many traders today make nice money, and I'm not joking you. I'm not a flim-flam artist. I'm a former professor who spent 8 years at Penn studying math and basically living in the library and having no social life. And I really want you to make money. And when people in the live training room just knock in, how much money they make, it makes me really feel good. And when I don't make money in the live trading room, I have a really bad day because it's not just a job for me or something that I'm doing to make money. I want you guys and ladies to be successful traders. Now, it's a cliche and we're coming to the end, but if you can make this work for you, and there's no reason why you can't be a profitable trader. The system works. We make money with it almost every day. There's no reason why you can't make money with it every day. It's a gift and it's a blessing. Now, I just wanted to show me that's so you know the face behind the voice. That's my son. These are his buddies. And the reason I'm showing this slide, now they just come out of Chinese buffet, and Chinese buffet to them is they pick out 300 shrimp. I have to shell them all. I have to pull the shells off of all the shrimp, off of 300 shrimp. And they eat all 300 shrimp, and then they have 42 scoops of ice cream. I'm a single dad. I have no family in South Florida. I raise this boy by myself totally. I make his bed. I cook his food. I do his laundry. He gives me lots of aggravation, but he's a blessing. And it's only the fact that I've mastered this discipline, this science, that gives me the flexibility to really be a hands-on dad. And to give him a little slap in the buttocks, figuratively, never literally, and make him as sweet a kid as he is. Now, I was going to play you a bunch of testimonials, but I think I'm going to let it go because the webinar is running late. We're already at an hour and a half, and I don't want to keep you longer, but I have 5 people who could tell you about their trading experience. One made $51,000 in one day. Another is a college senior who's making $75,000 a year. There's one in here from a man from the Miami Chamber of Commerce. They're very, very honest testimonials, because all I did was send an email to all of my traders, ask them to send me a video testimonial if they wanted to. I collected a whole bucket full of them, and I just picked 5. But I'm not going to play them for you. I'll just show you how they look, but I'm really not. But I'm not going to do it. Hang on one sec here.
I don't have to worry about money for the rest of my life.
Needless to say, it's a great tool for pinpointing exit and entry strategies for getting the best trade options possible. I'm now a full-time trader. Dedication is
Okay, well, I kind of messed that up a little bit. And I have some written testimonial, hands down the best education and training and software in the market. I've been trading for over 13 years and I learn something new every day. Mark is outstanding in the live trading room. Now, here's the cost, and I have a million of these. The cost is $997 per year. Now, the first 20 get 1 year in the battle room, 1 month in the live trading room, and the market scanner. Now, I want you to hang with me for just a couple seconds. You get the ebook. It's called the Trader's Aptitude Accelerator. I wrote it, and I spent a lot of time on it. That's your special super secret gift. It is not a throwaway ebook, and if you read it, if you take the time to read it, it's going to provide you with a lot of good information on how to trade. Now, I just put in a couple of more testimonials. Mark's always looking to improve the software to make everyone a successful trader. You're a great coach. I owe my success to you, blah, blah, blah. After a few other jokers tried to bamboozle you, I went ahead. It's amazing the trades were clearly, I always call them out in advance. Like I said, the system's very, very transparent. Now, for the first 20 only, you're going to get a $997, but it's going to be a lifetime purchase. So when we do a free upgrade or a free add-on, and we're doing one soon, we're going to add that signal on for it. I call it price divergence, not oscillator divergence. It's where the oscillator makes it's completely different than normal divergence. It's when the oscillator goes from oversold to overbought, or overbought to oversold. Price is in a channel, and then it's going to break out in the direction of the trend, and it's going to explode out. And we're going to signal that you're going to get that for free. If you're not one of the first 20, it's going to cost you for that upgrade and any future add-on that we make in the future. No, there's no promo code necessary, right, Rory? No promo code needed. This is how we communicate in the office. We have the intercom. No promo code needed, right?
No, I put the link in the room.
Okay, the link's in the room, and there's no promo code needed. And we have a very sophisticated intercom system in this office. We scream. So for the first 20, 1 year in the battle room, 1 month in the live training room, the market scanner, the software you will never pay us a dime for again. You'll own it for a lifetime. Every time we make an upgrade or an add-on, it is yours gratis. And I have traders in my room. The company's 10 years old. I have traders in my room who've been around for 9.5 years and have gotten about 175 upgrades and add-ons. it is something I strictly adhere to. You have that proviso, we will always abide by it, and you'll never pay us another penny. So let me see if there are any questions. Hey, everyone. Okay, let me go to the top here. Okay, Jonathan. Can you show your face at the end to confirm? Yeah, well, you saw in the picture, Jonathan. I swear to you that I can't find my cam. As God is my witness, maybe my son took it and didn't tell me about it and ran away with it, but I can't find it. I need the cam because I talk with a lot of people on Zoom, and I can see them and they're talking to a blank screen, but I just don't have it. But you did see my picture, so you know who I am. Okay. Just making sure. Okay, hang on a second. No, believe me, this is no scam. I'm sitting here in about 20 miles south of the city of Miami, and I am exactly who I said. Mitchell, if you can trade futures on this program, I just figured that most people would be interested in stocks and options, but you're going to get the exact same signals and the same system on futures. It's going to be no different. And in the battle room and in the master classes, I honestly, I want to tell you, and this isn't a sales pitch at all, because I don't even know how to do one. And I'm being honest. I do so much teaching in a week that if you can hear me today, I'm hoarse, because I spent 8 hours on the mic on Tuesday and 8 hours on the mic on Wednesday, just because I just decided, well, one was the battle room that was supposed to go 1 hour and went 3.5 hours. And the other was a master class I just gave for the heck of it. We finished trading at 10 o'clock and I got off the mic at 3. I just did a 5-hour master class for everyone in the trading room, and people kept asking questions and I kept answering them. So I believe that educational support is the linchpin to really becoming a good trader. Even with really great software, you can only take it so far as your knowledge base will allow you to. And that's why I really am heavy duty oriented towards it. And because I started out as an educator, and I know myself from sitting in front of 100 million professors, and in teaching graduate and undergraduate students, that really teaching is so important. And it's really most other companies don't bother with it because I don't make any money off of it. But I just feel an obligation to all of you because I want you to be profitable, and I really do. You trade stock and options and not foreign. I do trade futures. Wagar, I do. But my windfall was stocks and options. I can just tell you that, and I'm telling you the truth. And the 32 winners I closed with in a row going into the end of 2020, some of them were, grand slam home run trades. And I just closed a grand slam home run on PayPal. I closed another grand slam home run on Tilray. Just a couple of days, I think yesterday on PayPal, and 2 days ago on Tilray. So I'm knocking them out. Is there someone paying attention to the sound? Well, it's just me. Let me make sure, hang on. I hope you can hear me okay. I know that Rory does monitor with Val. Hey, Alex, how you doing? Hey, Jonathan. How do you draw the lines What is the logic in creating these patterns? Jonathan, that's the falling and rising triangle patterns is really what half the world trades. And if you look in really most textbooks of trading, they're going to show you how to trade patterns, and it's just called pattern trading. If you haven't learned about it, it's good, because it's not something that you have to put aside and forget about, because it's never going to make you any money. But they're very, very popular and very commonly offered as ways of making money. So just forget about them. We didn't have penicillin, but we had mold. Thomas says we didn't have penicillin, but we had mold 500 years ago. I think we had mold 5 million years ago, Thomas. That's one of the funniest things you said. Thank you, Mark, for telling the truth about Fibonacci levels. The same goes for Elliott wave. It's all hocus pocus. I agree with you, Mark. It's being recorded, Accentra. If so many of the long-standing technical signals do not work anymore, does this also impact the principle of options differently? It does not, JW. All it does is allow you to enter a stock, take a stock entry appropriately. Look, when you trade an option, you simply want the underlying stock to move in the direction you want it to. Sometimes you want it to go long, sometimes short, and sometimes you just want it not to move at all. I mean, let's say you trade an iron condor, or you trade a strangle or a straddle. Sometimes you make money off of something doing nothing. All this allows you to do is predict the direction that the underlying stock is going to take. And that is 75% of trading an option. The other 25% is the configuration and ongoing management of the option as it matures. Because there are ways of optimizing your profit and cutting your losses if you know how to handle an option that's going against you and how to handle an option that's going in your direction. And I don't want to get into it, but that's what we do in the battle room. We take a very, very meticulous and year-long approach to understanding how to trade options. And I just want to make this point really quickly. I don't want to draw this out, is that you can become a really good options trader in 90 days, but it's just like the practice of medicine. You can be a great doctor, but it's always called the practice. You can never get good enough. So a year of education, trading options and stocks or anything, is never too much. And the best violin player in the world still practices probably 20 hours a week. You can never get too good or know too much. I mean, that's how I've always felt about things. I learn something every day in the live training room because I go over my trades. And when I go over my trades, I always see things. So I'm learning things and picking them up every day that I trade. Hey, Dan, what were the EMAs on CRM slide? They're always 15 and 50 EMA, Dan. They're never changed. 15 and 50 EMA. Hey, Michael, taking gamma factor with Laguerre, are you referring to? No. There's a gamma factor inside the Laguerre, Mitchell, that is totally different from the gamma of the Laguerre of options. It has to, remember, you can use the Laguerre to trade futures and Forex. Nothing to do with that. This is my own platform, Ron, but it has to be installed on Thinkorswim. They're exponential, Sharon. They're both exponential moving averages. Yes, we do, Dan. I showed you the scanner. It shows you which instruments are not only in an uptrend or a downtrend. It shows you which are firing those green lines or red lines. And the green lines are important because a stock in an uptrend may be below the 50. We don't want to take a long. I mean, this is the way I teach you how to trade. I mean, you don't have to take my dogma or, I mean, my thesis, but I don't take a long trade below the 50. So there's no scanner signal. So the scanner is a more elegant signal, but it's going to tell you when you're in a long trend above the 15 and the 50, and a short trend below the 15 and below the 50, and our C2, the component of momentum and chop, are rolling in your favor. So it's actually going to delineate a trade that is not only trending, but set up to trade. Look, this looks to be so great. Looking forward to getting on board. Michael, thank you so much. When you get the scanner entry, do you stay in until the dispersion tells you to get out, or do you trail your stop? Thomas, this was what we're going to go over in the master class, and what Thomas asked is a great question. Do you stay in until dispersion tells you to get out, or do you trail behind the trade? And what I tend to do, Thomas, is I stay in the trade. If it's a very short-term time frame, like a 1 minute or a 5 minute, 1 minute, 2 minute, or 5 minute, I'm going to let that C2 indicator do the work for me. I'm going to let it go, because sometimes it comes back right to that line and then goes long. But if I'm trading like a 2 hour or a 4 hour, I'm going to trail the trade, because it's going to separate too far away from that dispersion line. So I'm going to teach you all that in the master class, how to maximize your profits on a trade. It's very clear and simple, and the rules are set. Hey, Lou. Yes, no, not the arrows, Lou. The arrows are simply the signals off the C2, or the measure of dispersion and momentum. It's the lines below. That's the compendium here. See right here? Now right here, you don't even have an arrow, and you don't necessarily need one, but this is a terrific trade long. You've got your bias green, your oscillator rising, you've got your 50 up, you've got your C2 heading up, you've got your 15 heading up, and the scanner is giving you a terrific entry. Now, when the scanner and this C2 both align, you know, it may be doubly powerful. Again, this is something I'm going to talk about in the master class, but this is really sort of your gold entry. And if you get that first bar right here, that's where you get that great move up. That's the best place. Now, and you have to be a little bit of a trader, because no automated system that I've ever seen can make you profitable. Only this is going to alert you to great potential trades. And you see, like, I didn't take this off the chart. I didn't want to take anything that, you know, because you look at these two green bars and say, you know what? Those are potential longs, and they are potential longs. And you know what the fact of the matter is? These are losers. You are occasionally going to get a losing signal. I mean, believe it or not, you're not going to get 100% winning trades. But I left them on the chart, because I don't want in any way to represent that every time you get a scanner signal, you're guaranteed a winner. But you can see how everything is set up here for an entry long. It just so happens it doesn't go. And that's just the way it is. Now, you're not going to lose much, but you're not going to get 100% winners. I mean, I didn't format these charts to make them look pristine and to make them look like, oh my God, you're always going to make $100,000 on every trade, and there's a loser. I just forgot to point it out to be honest with you, but I'm glad I'm showing it to you. Now, if you got in here and stayed in the trade, you didn't take the loser. And your goal is to get in early off the first green bar in the whole sequence, and then allow this line to carry you all the way up. If you did that, you have no loser. If you got in here, you got a late winner. If you got in here, you just didn't make it. But here, with the arrow, is your best entry. And we're going to, I mean, and in the master class, we're going to take a lot of time to go over these trades, because I want you to make money, because we're going to trade together. I just want to go to the offer on our phone. It's just somebody trying to sell me a vacuum cleaner. Hang on a second. Okay, Lou. So I think that's a pretty comprehensive answer to your question. I want you to see the system, in its totality. Hey, Dan, I was using a 1 minute, a 2 minute, a 5 minute, on a 4 hour on those trades. I use a lot of different time frames, and honestly, the system works on any time frame. Does not matter. If you're looking for a long swing trade, you can trade 4-hour bars or 2-hour bars. If you're looking for a day trade, you can trade a 2-hour, a 2 minute, a 5 minute, even a 1 minute can get you a really, really nice trade. It makes no difference. Hey, Hans. Okay, it works. Listen, these forces are time independent and instrument independent. The fact is, this Thinkorswim projects futures. You can trade this on futures. It is irrelevant. What this is doing is harnessing what I believe the direction of institutional money is taking the trade, and the best single assessment is chop combined with momentum, because institutional money keeps chop to a minimum and momentum to a maximum. And if you frame that with market structure, then you get terrific entries. And you see that we don't care about Japanese candlesticks. We don't care about rising or falling triangles. None of that, all of that's irrelevant. We do care about pivots. And you saw how that one pivot we broke, and then it came back up, and price used it as an area of resistance. And it bounced off of it and headed back down. Those are important. And you're not going to trade into a pivot. If you're profitable already and up nicely, you can close at the pivot or take a chance on a run right through it. I'll usually let it run through if I've got money in the bank. Hey, Dan, can I use it? Absolutely use it for swing trading. No, it would not, Dan. It would not confuse it. And Dan's asking about another indicator. It would not confuse it. And you can use it to day trade, swing trade, long-term trade. I mean, I looked at daily bars. I didn't want to put any daily bar charts because they last for a long, long time, but it's irrelevant. It really is irrelevant. Hey, Lou. Mark, what do you use as a stop loss on your options? I heard your targets. I'll tell you something, Lou, and I don't want to get into a lot of detail, but on options, I don't place a stop loss because I get burned by the market makers too often. Like I'll give you and I can give you a great example of why I didn't do it. Like on Roku, I was down a lot, and then it just came right back, and I closed it because it scared me. And we closed it at a small percentage profit, and I moved to Qualcomm. But if I had placed a stop and I approached anywhere near, say, 50%, the market makers would have taken it off my hands and buried me on the trade. I've had that happen too often. So if I see a trade going sour, on options on a swing term basis, I'll just send out a text message to everyone to close the trade and give them a limit order to close. I don't put in a prefabbed loss amount. And remember, on a weekly option, you're spending so little money. I mean, the whole purpose of taking a weekly is you spend a little to hit a grand slam home run. So let's say you trade $500 worth of options and you're looking for a 300% return. You're looking to make 1,500 bucks. You take a loser, it's not a big deal. Let's say you lose half of your money. It's just not a big dent. I don't trade a lot of money on weeklies. What I'm looking for is a huge return. That's the only reason to trade a weekly, is that if your stock takes a big jump, a 10% jump, your weekly is going to go nuts. And let me tell you, I'm going to show you how to trade weeklies the right way. Very few people know how to do them right. I really mean that. Hey, Ozjod, noticed a lot of your charts are 1 minute. Do you think 2 minute? I just arbitrarily set it at 1. I'm telling you, 1 and 2, Matt, have no difference at all. It wouldn't have mattered because a lot of the charts were 5 minute and 15 minute. And then there was a chart that was a 4 hour. And I'm telling you, it really just doesn't matter. It truly doesn't. Hey, Mitchell, with weekly, do you trade ATM or close it? I think theta wouldn't be of concern. Yeah, obviously, theta is not a concern here. Short term, but gamma would be, yes. And Mitchell, here's what I do. I mean, I don't want to go into it, but you know, I always front run the contract. So say I'm trading on a Thursday and I want to place a trade on a Thursday. I don't buy Fridays weekly. I buy next Fridays weekly because I know that gamma is going to go to heck, and I'm not going to get the pop I want. So, and I'm also not going to have the time decay that's going to destroy me so fast on a 2. I see a lot of big options traders take dailies on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of the same week. And that's a mistake. They should go to the next week. They'll get a better gamma and they're going to get a better delta. So that's part of what I'm going to teach you in the battle room. I mean, you're going to get much more money trading that way on your weeklies. Can you please show longer term times like daily? Elisa, I can't because we're running so late. But if you call Rory, he will set the platform up and he will show them to you. There's no problem. But if I do that, I mean, we're going to be here till 5 o'clock, and I'm not hiding anything. So help me. I mean, I showed 4-hour bars. The daily bars trade really well. The thing is, if you're looking at, say, the NASDAQ 100, you're going to get relatively few great entries. But when you get one, you're looking for a long trade on a daily. I mean, you're looking for a 2 or 3 month hold on a daily entry. So that's a long trade. So that's the only reason I didn't put it up. I just went to a 4-hour. But we're more than happy to show you how it works on a daily. It's no problem. Following lines, moving averages, and indicators for options. I always use my preset targets. I have found, and Mitchell, I have read books on this subject in which they look at profit, equity curves based on trading weeklies and even monthlies, where you simply look, you try to get as quote as much as you can versus say trading 3 contracts, looking for 50, 75, 100, or even 25, 50, 75. You will make much more money with a preset target of 25, 50, 75, excuse me, or 50, 75, 100 than you will just arbitrarily closing the trade or, letting it peter out, whatever you want to do. Those preset targets, I think, are golden. And I've read books on the subject and listened to videos on it that are really good. The preset targets are going to increase your equity curve significantly. That's the way I do it, and I'm telling you, it really does help you. I mean, when you just hit that 50%, man, it puts a smile on your face, and I'm telling you. And then it comes back against you. You're really in good shape because you're going to get that 25%. Well, your 25% target is out. If you're trading 2 and you have 25 and 50, your trade's over. If you're looking for 50 and 75, you've still got an option hanging out. You can, if it goes 55% and it comes back to 50, take it at 50. Can you scan for the buy-sell signals or just scanning on it? No, you use the scanner. The scanner is configured. You can either, I mean, there's an infinite way to set up the scanner. Hold on. Getting through to excellent. Somebody's trying to get through to me to sell me some crap. Excuse me. You can, let's say you want to scan everything on the Dow on a 5-minute. It's so easy to configure, but Sergio will show you how to do it when we set it up. Let's say you want to scan the stocks that have the greatest momentum in the market. You can scan those on a 5-minute. You can program it based on a number of different parameters so that you can actually do a little more screening than let's say if you only want to trade breakouts, you can set it for only breakouts on a 5-minute. And you're going to put in the stocks you're looking at. Again, you can look at the whole NASDAQ 100 or your hit list, and it will only show you buys or sells on that particular subset of stocks. So you have a lot of options in how you configure the scanner. Or you can just stick all the stocks in with none of those parameters preset. All of those can be used, though, to narrow down what you're looking for if perchance you think a breakout is really key to you, or trading a maximum momentum stock is key to you, or trading a stock that Thinkorswim has as an oscillator. There's all kinds of parameters they got that you can use to help filter your trades. I think you I'm not even going to read that, Thomas. Hey, listen, Thomas said I should be in jail for telling people to use cannabis. Hey, listen, I don't use it and I don't recommend it. I think it does. I think it hurts your IQ. And if my son uses it, man, I would kill him. Jim, I can't in this. Jim wants me to hook up Forex. You got 10 in? Yeah. Okay, we have 10 orders. I just want you to know that. So if you're interested, we only have 10 left. And Rory just came in and told me that. He's taking them over the phone. On Chewy, could you use the Laguerre? Okay, all right. Hey, Sarah. It does work for futures, Sarah. And in the master class, I'm telling you, it trades exactly the same. You can trade any financial instrument. If you could get Ninja, if you get Thinkorswim to project Forex, it would work on Forex. Remember, it really is a universal force that drives price. It is money flow. And it doesn't matter whether you're looking at the time frame you're looking at or the instrument you're looking at. And if I would have known on Thinkorswim that I had a lot of Forex interest, I would have showed you a bunch of Forex slides too. Because if I would have blocked out the top, I'm telling you, they trade identical, just identical. Hey, Rex, thank you for your number. You got it locked in. It does, Abby. I mean, I wouldn't kid you. It has this. It has a scanner for all the indicators. No, it doesn't have a scanner for every indicator in Thinkorswim, Abby. It doesn't. It's only scanning our indicator suite. I mean, if you throw a Thinkorswim standard indicator in there, the scanner's not going to pick it up. The scanner is attached to the indicator suite. So if you're looking for it to pick up every single additional indicator you add, it's not going to do that. I want you to know that right up front. Hey, Mitchell, thank you for your name and number. Michael, thank you for your name and number. Dennis, thank you for your name and number. Abby, thank you. Richard, thank you. Stephen, thank you. Alan, thank you. Our existing customer, no, remember this is, Steve, this is a completely different platform, completely. You have to talk to Rory. That's your best job. Honestly, I never, ever put pressure on you guys, but we're going to hit 20, easy. Hey, Vikas, thank you. Joe, thank you. Hector, thank you. Mitchell, thank you. I mean, it's only your phone number that's going to get you your spot. Gary, thank you. Dave, thank you. These are all phone numbers going in. I would like to switch services. Okay, Dan, I got your number. Scott got your number. Lee got your number. Rudy got your number. Judy got your number. Bill got your number. Gideon got your number. Walter got your number. Clive got your number. You talk to Rory, Lou. He's going to call you. We got your number. Yes, you will, Jeffrey. No, nothing shows unusual options activity, Mitchell, except the data feeds that I use, Options Monster, and I'm blocking on it and I look at it, Benzinga. Those are completely separate data feeds. This is never going to show UOA. And let me tell you, a lot of UOA, unusual options activity, is just static. You have to sit with every UOA and you have to vet it. And let me tell you, it takes me about 15 to 20 hours a week to pick up the best UOAs and to configure them and decide whether I want to use them or not. It's a lot of work, but those are completely separate data feeds. And Mitchell, I tell you this in all honesty, there's no scanner. There were a couple of companies. One of them is being prosecuted for about $150 trillion by the FTC, touting they had a scanner. You can't scan for UOA. You have to see it, vet it, decide if it's valuable or not. It's very important. Because let's say, well, I don't want to go into it now because it'll turn the webinar into a 28-hour. I'm going to teach you all about UOA in the master class, in the battle room. If you have the patience to go through these data feeds and pull out UOA, it will give your options portfolio a mega boost. If you want to take my options trades, it's a big $79 a month with a 30-day money back, in 30 days only for for those people who are on board. You can turn it in and we'll give you your money back. So it's like it's no big deal. And I'll do all the work for you. What size account and average trade size are the 220 options results based on? You know, Gordon, it's very hard for me to tell you that. I need an accountant to do that because there's some positions I traded 20 option positions. Some I traded 1. Some I traded 2. I really base the amount on the potential associated risk Like we just had a trade we paid $2,000 for on PayPal. Now, I took a very limited number of those positions because that's an expensive option, and I don't like recommending them because I like cheap options for my traders. I don't want them to have to pay that. The cost of that option was $1,900, but the upside was $5,000. And I just couldn't resist making that recommendation. Now we wound up making great money, not 5,000, but I just really can't tell you. You know what? I don't know how much money you would make if you traded one option on every position, but I bet you it would have been darn good because of our win to loss ratio. I had about 85 to 86%. I didn't calculate exactly, almost close to 90% winners on the options portfolio for the whole year. It's hard to lose money on that, let me tell you. Is the addition in TOS owned by us separately from the scanner you showed? If you're one of the first 20, you get it. Or if you put your name and number in, it's included in the whole package. If 2 days or 3 days from now, if somebody calls up, they will not be offered the scanner as a separate. They will be offered. It will be offered as a $1,000 add-on. Thank you for your name tweet. In the trade room, I trade futures, but it doesn't really matter, Mitchell, because the methodology is identical and the trading system is identical. And in the battle room sessions, we do stocks and options. So you're getting an exposure to everything. And really what you're going to become is a facile trader at almost any financial instrument you want, because basically I believe they all trade identical. They all respect the same rules because every financial market is the same closed system that is governed by the same forces that move price. The dollar yen is no different than natural gas. They are moved by money and money flow. Mark, can you get me some help with? Oh, no, we do the install for you, Ricky. So don't even worry about it. That's not even a problem. I mean, Sergio does a white glove installation for you. Just call Rory Accenture. He'll tell you. He will. No problem, Ramon. I can assure everybody that you, Rory, and Sergio, and Andrew are just awesome. Salvador, thank you. Andrew's my son. I mean, this kid lives on the computer, but he wouldn't come in. He wouldn't come and trade if his life depended on it. But maybe later he'll be a little different. Got your number, Islam. The scanner is ready now. It's ready to go. You saw it. It's operational. Hey, Rex, thank you for your name and number. Ajad, thank you for your name and number. You have to call Rory for that. It's up to him. Honest to God. I signed up but did not have promo. If you signed up and you didn't have the promo, just talk to Rory Scott. Just give him a call. He'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. Seriously. Please ask Rory to call me. I sent email and voicemail. Maybe you didn't see. Okay, Arthur, I'll have Rory go through this list. Anyway, he has to get all the phone numbers. So he's going to see your request. Do the indicators work best in 2 minutes? No, Ajad, it does not matter what time frame. Please understand that. There's no works better on 2, works better on 5. Listen, if you're trading a stock with low volatility and really slow movement, you're going to trade a shorter term time frame candle. If you're trading a stock that moves like the wind, you're going to trade a slower candle, maybe a 5-minute or a 10-minute candle. So it's very discretionary. And it's really up to you, but it doesn't matter You just have to tailor it for the instrument that you're trading and the speed that it runs. That's really all. I mean, you don't want to sit there forever on a 10-minute candle looking at a stock that hardly moves. If I traded Costco, I love to trade Costco, Boeing, General Motors, Cheesecake Factory. Those are some of my favorite low betas. That, you know, they don't move like the wind. They can make you terrific money. You know, you're going to trade those on a 5-minute. I'm sorry, on a 2-minute or a 5-minute, because they're slow. They're not going to move fast. I mean, if you trade like MicroStrategy or PayPal or some of these fasters, you know, you're going to have to slow them down. So you trade what's comfortable for you. That's all. Remember, the faster the speed, the more likely that you might get caught in chop, but the earlier you're going to get in on a great trade. So there's a trade-off. You know, you may take one extra loser if you trade a faster speed. If you want to take more risk. If you trade a slower speed, you're very unlikely to get nailed on the trade, but you may get in later and make less money. There's your trade-off, but you have to really adjust it per instrument. No, thank you, Alex. That's very, very kind of you. You know, it's sometimes that card's very slow, Rex. If you can't get it to load, just give us a call and Rory will do it for you. Hey, Rory. Yeah, Rory said there's not. Yeah, hey, Rex, listen, we'll lock in the price for you. And if you just give us a call, Rory will take your order over the phone. I mean, I think if you have a little patience, eventually the card will roll over. It's probably because, honestly, other people are using it, and that slows it down a lot. But either one, I'll make sure that you get the discount price. Okay, Rex? Thank you for your number, Arthur. It does work on Forex. Eliza, just call us and we will show you. What was it? After a month in the trading room, how is it in the trading room and the battle room? Well, Lewis, the battle room's a lot different than the trading room. The battle room is a lot more educationally intensive. And remember, most sessions go 3 hours of just hardcore training. And it's quite a different environment. You're going to learn a lot, I'm telling you. And in the battle room, I keep the chat box open, so it's more of a dialogue. When I trade in the morning, I don't look at the chat or I can't trade. So it's a very kind of different environment. It's more give and take, more educational. But after we trade, you know that I go over a lot of stuff. Tell them, Arthur, your client for many years, and Mark is the real deal and a great team at Right Line. That's from Arthur. Thank you, Arthur. I appreciate it. Since I'm a student and 1K is a bit of a gamble for me, if I have any further questions, but is it possible to email you? Jonathan, send us an email ASAP and we'll give you a break. And okay, just send us an email though to info@Right Trading. We do accept PayPal. You're going to have to talk to Rory and he will process your PayPal, Clive. And I will remember your name and I'll consider that to be a phone number. But if you call us or you give us your number, Rory will take your order through PayPal. And I would get the link from him and give it to you, but he's swamped on the phone. So we do, Clive. Do institutions trade futures in the same fashion they do stocks? Absolutely, Steve. They're always looking to trap retail traders in the wrong direction. Listen, that's the name of their game. Bull traps and bear traps are the way they love to trade, and it doesn't make any difference. Remember, it's still the same institution. And let's say it's JP Morgan, and they want to make money on gold. They're going to look to trap traders in the counter trend direction all the time because it benefits them financially to do so. It pushes gold further when you have to buy your contracts back if you're short and they want the trade to go long. These are universal concepts, and you see bull traps and bear traps set in every single market and on any time frame. For options picks, how will we get alert and how many times in a week? Vikas, usually you're going to get too many trades. I tend to go a little bonkers. You'll get at least 2 to 3 a week, sometimes 2 to 5 a week. You'll get 2 to 3 newsletters a week. Some of them are very long because I really run on them about my opinion about the market and our positions. You can pick and choose which options you want to choose and take. But I try to, like right now, our overall portfolio is 15 open positions. But I want you to know something about options, and I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. I believe, it's my personal opinion, that options are traded like stocks. You create a diversified portfolio of options. So I'll only take so many positions in tech, so much in consumer discretionary. I have my online gaming sector. I have my fintech sector. Then I have my short sector. I have Clorox short. I have the US dollar short. So it's a diversified portfolio. You don't want to sit there with one position, and if it goes against you, you get crushed. That's the way I believe you should trade options. And it takes an enormous amount of work, but that's how I do it. And that's one of the reasons why I think I make so much money doing it. On a bull day, we're going to make a ton of money. On a bear day, Clorox and the US dollar are going to help us out tremendously. And the fact that we have great relative strength on our stocks. The market falls 2%, hopefully they'll fall 0.5%. Hey, Reg, does it work on a shorter time frame for day trading? Absolutely, you trade the Qs and the SPYs, no problem. And I should have put Qs and SPY examples up there, but the SPY, I love the SPY. I find the Qs a little harder to trade and a little choppier to trade, but the SPY tends to, for me, tends to be a much more trending instrument. And on a 2-minute, I really like trading the SPY. So if you're going to day trade the SPY, it's a great instrument to trade. I'm a little less enthusiastic about the Qs just because of the nature of the way it moves. What other platform is required? If you have NT8, you can power Thinkorswim, and this whole system will work. Fred, only you're not going to be able to trade it on Thinkorswim because you don't have your broker with Thinkorswim. But if you're trading stocks, you can take your entries off your broker on Ninjatrader 8. They will take a trade on stocks. I think. Rory, will Ninjatrader take trades on stocks? Will Ninjatrader take trades on stocks? Yeah, it will. So you could, Fred. You take this, the whole system will power Thinkorswim, and you're going to trade Ninjatrader. The master classes are always recorded, Philip, and Rory's going to be sending out the links to everybody. You never have to worry. I'm glad sound is good. Great, Greg. you enter a trade on the scanner time frame, no. If you enter the trade, Walter, on the scanner time frame, because you put the scanner on the time frame you want to trade. If you're trading a 2-minute, you scan on a 2-minute. If you're trading a 5-minute, you scan on a 5-minute. And it's just my thesis that you don't enter intra-candle. You wait for the candle to close. So the scanner is going to give you an intra-candle alert. So you're going to have time to go over and get the trade when the candle closes on the time frame you're trading. That is my strong recommendation. And I only make recommendations. I mean, because all of you as traders have discretion and you don't have to listen to me. But I'm just coming from 10 years of experience, and and I'm giving you the best advice I can. I mean, it really comes down to that. I'm like a marriage counselor. You know what I mean? Hey, Salvador, great. I'm cool. Thank you so much. Thank you, Salvador. Hey, Fred. Yes, and Fred and Rory will talk to you about it. But you got to call him. How do we transition from Ninjatrader to the thing? That's something that Sergio will do for you, Gideon. He will make the move. He will set you up and do all the tech for you. You don't have to worry about that. Does your indicators also show us? Absolutely. Nothing will align in CHOP, Dan. The CHOP and the excuse me, the C2 and the multi-time frame analysis will not align. You're going to have the 50 and the 15 all crazy. Remember, you need the 15 above the 50 to trade. The 15 will be below the 50. Everything will be out of whack in CHOP. To get that kind of alignment that we saw, that I showed you, you have to look for it. And that's why you need the scanner, because it doesn't happen that often. Most of the time, the market is a mess. And it's in disarray because we run it. And when we run it, you're never going to see a setup like that. You just won't. I mean, it's very rare. It works, I've answered, I know you've heard Ann's, but it does. You can trade any time frame, a 4-hour, a daily. I mean, you can trade a weekly if you want. I've never seen it set up, but you could. Hey, Lewis, after a month in the trading room and a year in the battle room, for traders in the room, there's a big discount, and I don't know how much it is. It's $249 if you're not in the trading room, but we discount it significantly. But honest to God, I don't know how much, and I don't want to give you the wrong number. It's either $149 or $199 to stay in the trading room. After a year in the battle room, whatever the regular price is, it's 50% off what you would be rebuilt. So by virtue, because we have a lot of people in the battle room that don't own anything. They just want to come in there for the education. They pay full price for everything. I have people in the trading room that don't own anything either. They pay full price, but you guys are not going to pay that. So on the recurrent billing, you're going to get a big break. I just don't want to give you an absolute figure because I don't know it. And I don't want to say too high and dissuade you or say too low and mislead you. But you do get a big discount, Lewis, and it's a good question. I think your system is unable to purchase. It may have crashed because of the people, Rex. Just give us a call. Rory will place your order. It's really depressing to hear that, and I'm going to have to talk to our web developer about it. But are you on the phone, Rory? Are you on the phone? just wait 5 minutes, Rex, and give us a call. I got your name. I'll tell Rory to make sure you get the discount. I don't want the system to hold up your purchase. Okay, don't worry about it. And Rory will take your call directly through our payment gateway. And for some reason, and I think it crashed because we may have had 10 or 15 people try to purchase it once. But we'll get you. Hey, Abby. Yes, it does. The scanner includes bias and money flow. That's what it's all about, for sure. No, we don't have those on Thinkorswim. How do you access the scanner in Thinkorswim and how would you use it? Brett, don't worry about any of that. Sergio will do everything and set you up and show you how to work everything. He does a white glove installation, and when you get him on the phone, pimp his brain, okay? Don't let him get off until every question about the software that you have is answered. And if everything isn't answered completely, you just call Rory and Rory will fill in the blanks for you. You'll never have problems on that end from us. We will teach you how to run the software. No problem. I think Sergio will do a very thorough job with you. But later on, if you think of questions, just call us back. I mean, we must get 100 phone calls a day that Rory and Sergio handle. So don't worry about calling us. Hey, Brad, the masterclass to go over the new indicator suite, we're probably going to schedule it for next Tuesday. This coming Tuesday is my free day. No, it's going to be Wednesday. That's Tuesday. I have a commitment. It's going to be it's going to be Wednesday afternoon, and it's going to be at 1 o'clock. I will tell Sergio to send out invitations to everyone who just purchased to come in, and I'm going to go with this. I'll go through a lot of the stuff that you're asking me questions. But if you've already purchased and been set up, we're going to do a lot of trading. Hey, Clive. All right, hold on one sec, Clive. Your order went through, Clive. Thank you so much for coming aboard. Where does installation bias, institutional? Mitchell, it shows up in the confluence of the entire indicator system. In other words, you're not going to get a multi-time frame alignment and trend. You're not going to get an environment where chop is falling and momentum is rising. You're not going to get a environment where the gear is showing sequentially increasing buying pressure, nor an environment where price is above the 15 and the 50 and rising. That is not going to happen. By small retail traders cannot drive price like that. In fact, small retail traders do not have the power to create a multi-time frame alignment. I mean, it's just semi-impossible for them. And when you think about it, it becomes even more, I mean, to me, intuitively obvious. If you have 100 people in a ring all hitting each other and they all have the same power and the same prowess and the same ability, I mean, you're just going to have chaos. You have one guy in the ring with 100 people and he's 50 times stronger than everyone else. He's going to knock everyone else out and he's going to be the one standing and he's going to control everything. And that's the guy that's going to determine the direction of price and everything's going to align. That's really the underlying premise, and I'm telling you, it holds. Just that bias indicator alone is really valuable. There are going to be times when it's going to hold a trade up for you, where it won't be the color you want it to be. But that's okay, because to trade with specificity, i.e. avoid every loser, occasionally you have to give up a potential winner. That's a mathematical axiom. Thank you, Jeff, for your number. We have you on a master list, Etan. Rory keeps meticulous records, and you'll automatically get the software package. So don't worry about that. And we're numbering the packages. So you'll know what number you're on. If perchance 2 months go by and you haven't had any contact with us, you just call us. You say, I have package 2. If we have 3, we'll send it right out to you, but you will get it. 1, do you enter a trade on the scanner time frame, or do you look? Like I said, Walter, you enter, your scanner is scanning on your chart time frame. So they all align. That's the only way I know how to trade it. I would not put the scanner on a faster time frame, because remember, your time frame may never close in the right direction. You may get in so early that the trade never matures, and that you don't want that to happen. Hey, Alfred, I'm interested in trading. Great for you, and thank you for your number. Thank you so much. You're ready in the battle room. Great to have you, Alfred. Rory will call you very shortly. He's got so many numbers, you're gonna have to give him a little bit of time, but you're all locked in.
You asked him to call the office?
I did. Stronger, listen, if the arrow confirmation does provide power, Mitchell, because you do really want to get in, and I'm going to talk about that in the masterclass, you do want to get in right at the beginning of that perfectly aligned momentum chop setup, not more towards the middle or more towards the end, right at its inception. So the arrow does provide you with a stronger confirmation. That it does. So if you get the arrow and you're right at the beginning of a scanner signal, you should have a stellar trade. I ordered online, but I did not get confirmation. Clive, we just confirmed. Rory checked, and you are registered, and we will be in touch with you today. Very excited to get started. Thank you so much, Arthur. Rory's going to go through this whole list. Okay. No problem. I'm going to give you all the entry rules, everything. I don't have a PDF at time, but what's going to be better than that is the masterclass. Listen, it takes much more of my time to do a 3-hour masterclass than to send you a 20-page PDF. But remember, every single entry parameter has a little bit of wiggle, and I want to teach you really how to trade rather than hand you a bunch of pictures. Now, I made a 35 PDF for a trade execution platform. For this, I think you're going to do a lot better in the masterclass. One, it's dynamic. We go back and forth, and you're going to get it on a link. You can review it over and over again, and I think it's going to be far better than anything I could put in writing. And in a weekend, I could bang that out and save myself a lot of time. So I'm really taking the tougher way, because and also you have specific questions. You're going to get them answered. What time is the room open with live trading, and are you trading? I trade futures in the room, Robert. Now, if you're trading stocks and options, listen, we make a lot of money in that room, but I can't say it that way because we're educational. And I'll just say that we're very successful in that room, and I may make you a converter to options, to futures, but we're still going to do stocks and options in the battle room. And the trade methodology that I use is identical. So you're going to learn a lot when I'm in the room like 25 after 9, and we trade till we hit our first profit target, which is 400. I try to get 600. In 4 trading sessions this week, we made $2,150. So, and I'm telling you, that's what traders took home. Actually, minus about $100 in commissions. So who knows? We may make you we may do a major conversion. But learn you will, Robert. I tried buying, but it directed me to log into my account, and I do not see the software. Please, Rex, call us. Here's our number. It's 786-732. I left this up. Just call Rory. I mean, he's just been on the phone constantly taking these orders. And I'm really sorry about it. I'm going to call our developer and give her sort of a, not yell at her, but say, look, it can't handle more than 1 order every 10 minutes. It's got to move faster than that. But he'll take your order for you, Rex. And because you asked me and brought it to my attention, we'll make sure that you get the lower price. We're not going to lock you out. I hear you. It probably crashed, and we're going to have to get her to put it back together again. No, we'll call you today, Rex, for sure. And we've locked you in. We got your number. Have to go, no problem. Hey, Dan, I don't use cannabis, but I read medical journals that CBD and THC. Let me tell you, I'll just tell you as an aside, and almost, we're just about done. I have a lot of micro cap companies that are doing major research on LSD, not LSD, but they're doing it on psychedelics. I believe those medicines, those compounds, are going to have major therapeutic uses, from depression to post-traumatic stress disorder to certain central nervous system neurological disorders. I want to buy these companies when they're 50 cents a piece, because I think someday some of them will be worth $10 a piece. And I just want you to know, in the battle room every week, I give my micro cap of the week, and I've been dumping out these psychedelics in the battle room every week. I don't want to do it in the webinar, but I believe me, I'm not holding anything back on you, but I'm going to give you some great micro caps to trade. And some of my micro caps have been, Mind Medicine, I think it's MMEFD. I recommended it at 50 cents. It went to $5. And a lot of people in the battle room bought it, including myself. Now, I'm still holding it. It fell from $5 to $3.30, which is a big drawdown. But I believe that Mind Medicine is going to be a $10, $15, $20 stock someday. So I'm a long-term holder in that stock. I wasn't going to bail at 5. I didn't know it was going to come down, but it's slowly going back up. And I think someday it will be a $10, $20 stock. It is way ahead of the pack on looking at THC-based medicines to use for all kinds of disorders, Parkinson's disease, all kinds of things. It only on Thinkorswim, Robert. It's not an NTA platform. Dan, thank you so much for your number. Yes, David, you will still get. You don't need the promo code. Everyone who signs up online will get the lifetime. Hey, Ramon, got your number, Robert, got your number, Michael, got your number. Okay, listen, I'm going to close. We have, I swear, I think we have about 50 to 60 phone numbers. And I just want you to know this. I'm going to end here. How do you automate your exit? Etan, this is not an automated system. You cannot, and I'll close on what it can't do. You have to trade it. And I do not want to provide you with the expectation of automation, although in the future, I have already given Sergio that goal. Now, I don't know when that's going to be done, and I'm not selling the system. with that even in mind. You're going to have to, I'm going to teach you how to exit the trade, but you're going to have to manage it. I manage every trade I take every morning, and it works out fine. So there's no automated system. He can show you how to create an automated trade management strategy, and that can automate your exit. So if that's your concern, don't worry. We have every profit target that you need, and we can automate it that way for you for sure. But it's not, it's not a self-programmed robot. Hey, Ramon, great. Thank you for your number. The options portfolio, Dan, is Elite Options Trader. I'll have Rory put a link in. But the link is, I'm going to give you everyone in the room a real discount on it. So if you call us, I'll just charge you $79 for the month, and I'll give you a recurring at $79. It's normally, I think, $129 or $149. So I'm just throwing that discount out to you off the top of my head, and I have to tell Rory to do that for you, or he won't know. So just give us a call. It's cheaper if you call Rory than if you get it online. And I'll just tell you one thing. I kill myself on that freaking options portfolio. Last night, I was up till 9:30 working on that thing because all my money, I have a lot of money on the line on that. And I don't like to lose money because I know I'm giving it away to other traders and I don't want to. And I certainly don't want to give it away to the institutions. It's too precious. And you know what? The number one goal that we all have, and I'll just close on this, is capital preservation. That's why the number one goal we have in trading is not to take a loser. That's first and foremost. Don't give your money to anybody. We're going to avoid picking losers, like we're going to avoid sitting next to someone with the plague. Then we're going to go out and take the lowest risk winners we can, because we don't want to touch what is precious, our loot. I don't care if you have $5 or you have $500,000. You don't want to give any away to anyone else. The battle room is a weekly session, David, where it's all teaching and trading, but it's stocks and options. It's a separate session. It's the afternoon. It's a really doozy of a room, and you're not going to see anything like it, honestly, because everybody sort of, I'll spin it in whatever direction people trade like, and we go over a lot of stuff. Now, it's only supposed to be, like I said, an hour, but I've never done less than 3. Dan, I'll make sure that Rory gets you a link to the battle room. You should have it, Dan. Okay? Hey, Rory? Okay, listen, I'm gonna close up because the comments I'm getting, Rory's way ahead. Sergio speaks great. Are you kidding me? Sergio's from Cuba. The guy talks perfect Spanish. He does. Listen. I tried to get us into a GameStop trade. I did against my better judgment. Used to work in Cuba. I'll tell you, that must have been hard, Reg. Thank you, Osman. Thank you so much for coming aboard. Really? Okay, well, I'm telling you, the United States catching up with Cuba and that marijuana-based CBD, that CBD thing. I'll just tell you a really funny story, and then I'm going to end. You know, sometimes when I go to bed, I can't turn my brain off. So I bought you can get them on Amazon. Rory, what did those gummies have in them? Yeah, that I bought. Yeah, they had CBD in them. And that's legal. They're legal. So I took 2 of the gummies before I went to bed, and I swear all I did all night was throw up. Like, they made me so sick. So if anybody wants a bottle of CBD gummy bears with only 2 used, just give me a call. I'll send it to you for free. This is Think or Swim, Justin. Listen, thank you. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you so much. And I just want you to know, I feel a heavy responsibility to all of you. I want to make you all successful traders. I want to see you put your profit target, your profits in the room. I'm here and available all the time. You want to call and yell at me, I will let you. If I take some bad trades, you can paddle my butt. But I want to make you guys good traders, and it is really a serious thing for me. I know right now that platform is so good, Justin. It's really up to you whether you want to use Thinkorswim or Ninja. It really is. It's a toss-up, and I really can't tell you. So listen, I'm gonna go because it's getting a little bit late. You all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Rory's going to be behind. Give him a little bit of time. We'll catch up with everybody. By Monday, mid-afternoon, everyone will be configured, have all their links, be operating, and everyone will be trading on Tuesday morning. Just give Sergio a little bit of time. He's got to configure everyone. We will get you going ASAP, and we will contact you ASAP. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. And you all have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. COVID's still around. Sergio just got COVID, and he was out for 2 weeks. He did really well. He's a young guy. I'm signed up for the vaccine, but there is none in South Florida. So I have to be very careful. I have a son who could track it in, so I have to be careful. So be careful, enjoy yourself, relax. And this week, let's hit it and make some moolah, and let's make some educational moolah. Have a really, really, really great week. And I'm dead serious about that. Not joking. Let's start off. Even if you're trading on sim, you're not trading live. Let's run it green. Take care. Have a really, really wonderful afternoon. And thank you so much for trusting me. I am there for all you guys. Take care. Have a great weekend.